Good morning, y'all. Hi. Let me get you tilted. Were you out too late last night? What happened? Hey, everybody. Good morning. Connie, I read you got your Luminaire back from the doctor. That's wonderful. Carly, what a nice name. Beautiful name. Okay, I'm on coffee cup number 2. I've kind of gotten smart. This thing that I drink out of holds me for the hour, but it's too hot. So I'm using it like a little thermos. I'll just refill my cup. So, all right, you guys. Hey, Jude, thank you for bringing the donuts this morning. We appreciate that. Please put them in the kitchen. Somebody's on coffee duty, I think. So I love all of our treats because no calories and no fat. How nice is that? Well, hi, everybody. I am Becky from Power Tools with Thread, and you're in the Stitchuation room. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. My door's open to my room, so y'all can probably hear my laundry, my washing machine spinning. Sorry about that. I'll ask Keith to. Let me go close that door. It's very annoying to me. Hold on. Oh, my apologies. Keith came in, went through the room, and when he went out, he didn't close the door behind him. So I'll blame him. That's fine. If you are new here, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate that. Y'all chime in where you're from. And you never know, you might run into a like-minded soul in your neck of the woods. And that's always a lot of fun. Somebody asked me the other day, I think it was one day last week. Let's see, we got home from Baton Rouge on Wednesday, and it was I think it was Thursday or Friday. I did a video, and the video quality was so horrible. I had internet gremlins. I don't know what was going on, but I had showed a technique on how to make half square triangles differently than what the pattern was calling for. So what I've been working on for the past week or so, since we left for Baton Rouge, I decided to grab a UFO and take it with me. And what I have been working on for the last week or so is Woodland Wonderland. This pattern is several years old. It's by Joanne Figueroa for Fig Tree and Company. And Pat Sloan did a different colorway on it with Fat Quarter Shop, and it's called Autumn Wonderland. Okay, so here are all the fabrics that are going to be in Autumn Wonderland. All my Texas girls are in the house. Morning, ladies. So what I've been working on is this Starburst block, which is this one right here. Okay. Well, the pattern, because they hate us, I think, has you cut. Let's see. Yes. They have you cut these squares in half diagonally. Let me put my glasses on so I can see. And they want you to sew those little bitty triangles together on the bias. See where my finger is? They want you to sew them together on the bias to make half square triangles. Are you out of your mind? That doesn't work. Unless you're some kind of wizard, that does not work. So there's another way. And there is, this is out on the internet. It's all over the place. But I've got something in my eye, you guys. But you can make multiple half square triangles at one time. Okay. And I needed 8 of these half square triangles. So Diane from Down Under, I was thinking about it. I was like, I know there's a way to do this. Sure enough, great minds, you guys. She's like my quilting soul sister. She sends me a link to a video of exactly how to do this. Now, there's a lot of formulas out there, but this is the formula that I use because I don't like math. All right. So whatever, I'm gonna hold this up again and show you guys, whatever your final size of your half square triangle needs to be, the final number of your half square triangle. So mine need to be 2 inches. All right. So I've got 2 down below, right? Plus 1, that's 3, times 2 equals, and that little n there is 6, is what that is for me. Now, when I do this, I round up. If it says like, you know, the square has to finish at 2 7/8, I'm not doing that. I'll just make it 3 and take the math from there, because trying to add 7/8, ugh, can't do that. Even 3/4. Now I have to think. So if it says to finish the half square triangle at 2.5, I would round it up to 3. And then I'm going to have a little extra on the trim. That's okay, because that is worth getting it right. So I got something in my eye, you guys. All right. So what I have here, I told this lady wrote me and she said, could you show how to do that again? And that was on the bad video, and I don't want anybody looking at that video again. So I went ahead and cut myself some 6-inch half square triangles, and I didn't iron them yet. But I wanted to show you guys how to do that. Now, some of the videos that I watched have you drawing lines diagonally, corner to corner, and then sewing a 1/4 inch away from those. I don't like doing that at all. You guys. So you're not sitting there by yourself. I just got to press these. No steam. No, nothing. So I have them right sides facing, I think. I'm pretty sure I do. Yes, I do. I have them. It's hot. I have them right sides facing. Okay. Got red and white. Okay. Oh. So what I'm going to do, I don't, as I said, I don't like sewing a 1/4 inch away from the line. That leaves a lot of room for error for me. So I like to use a Creative Grids seam guide. Okay. And this one, it has a line right through the middle of it, and it's only 1/2 inch wide. And then I will use, you just put the center line on the corner to corner. You can't see it. It's like clear. So I'm putting this on the corner to corner. Let me move this. I don't have the space, y'all. We're here at my sewing machine. Okay. I'm going to hold this. I'm just going to, and then turn it. These are very handy, these little rotating mats. If you don't have a rotating mat, you can just use a mat on a mat, and then just rotate that. A little mat on a big mat, and rotate that. There's always ways to do things. So instead of sewing a 1/4 inch away from the line, I'm actually sewing on the line. To me, that's much more accurate. Okay, I'll put this away. So then what I do is I'll pin the big parts to put them all together so they don't shift while I'm sewing them. Turn my machine on, that would help. What are you guys doing? Anything interesting going on? Okay. Yep, you guys are already talking about, you guys are near each other. That's wonderful. Okay, so I'm going to put this aside. Now I'm going to sew on the line. If you were to do this, there's another method that has this square, starting square at 5 3/4, or something like that. That's just too close for comfort for me. All right. I'm sewing on the Brother PQ 1500 straight stitch machine. All right, so now I can take these pins out. When I did it in the video the first time, I cut on the diagonal first, and I had 3 or 4 of you write me and say, Jenny Doan says to cut it on the straight first because the diagonal's already marked. All right, y'all. I'm on board with that. That sounds good. I don't know if I have a little ruler here. I don't have a cutting ruler here. I got 15 million rulers. I don't have a cutting ruler. Okay. So we're going to cut it on the straight first. Okay. So you're supposed to cut it on the diagonal in between your marks and then vertically and horizontally. Okay. I'm on board with Jenny Doan. Anything Jenny Doan does, she usually has it together. She's the one who taught me how to quilt. For all of the, good things about my mom, she was not a quilter. She was a garment seamstress. She said, well, how many blankets does one person need? And today I hear that and I'm like, it's not a blanket. Okay. So now I can cut these. They like to kind of spread. I'm going to squeeze them all back together just to make my life easier. Now I can cut these on, halfway between. You don't have to use a ruler to do this. Just kind of get it on a 1/4 inch seam. Okay. This is making half square triangles 8 at a time. All right. I got my stuff. Too much stuff. Put this away. So, okay. So here are my half square triangles, but they're too big. Okay, they're too big. Now, before you iron these, there's this fabulous, wonderful tool, and it is called the ruler, and it's called Clearly Perfect Slotted Trimmers. These are the greatest thing since sliced bread, you guys. Okay. So there's 2 different trimmers in the pack. I've got a link to these below. Okay. If you are a quilter, if you're a brand new quilter, you guys have got to. These are, in my opinion, these are a must in your stash. Okay. So you have trimmer A, and trimmer A up here at the top, it says cut half square triangle sizes 1/2 inch. See that? 1/2 inch. So if you have to have a half square triangle that is 1.5, 2.5, 3.5, all the way up to 6.5, this is the ruler that you would use. If you have to have, this says cut half square triangle sizes 1 inch on this one, on trimmer B. So if you have to have a 2 inch, 3, 4, 5, or 6, you would use this ruler. Okay. Now, how these work. I'm going to hold this. See the dotted line? That dotted line goes, Lori, you ordered yours? Good. You're going to love these. Okay. So that dotted line is to represent the seam line. See the seam line on your half square triangle. Okay. So all you do, I'm going to do it on the red so you guys can see, is you put the seam, and it's even got a grayed out part for your seam allowance. So you put the dotted line over your dotted seam line, okay, like that. See how the thread is right on the dotted seam line, okay? Now I've got a little extra up here. I'm going to cut, that's waste. I'm all right with that. If I would have done the 5 3/4, it would have been a lot less waste. Y'all, my life doesn't work like that, okay? That's it, because you mess up one, they're all whatever. You got to do them all over again. All right, so let me get down here and show you guys what I'm doing. Let me zoom in a little bit. Y'all, I am not above using these fabulous tools out on the market for us. So I'm going to put my dot. I need a 2-inch half square triangle. I'm going to put my, and this is before you iron, right? So see, it's still closed. And it's better before you iron so you don't have a bump. So I'm going to put my dotted seam line right on there. And then I'm going to use my rotary cutter and I'm going to cut and keep my fingers out of the way. You really want a rotary cutter for this, you guys. Okay. Then before you pick it up, it's got these little, hold still. It's got these little slots right there. There's a slot there, okay? Let me let that focus again. Okay. So you take your rotary cutter and you just go in the slot and you can trim off your dog ears. So that's very handy too. That way you don't have that bulk, especially on these littler ones. You don't want that bulk in those pieces. All right. So now, let me turn on my iron. Now I have a beautiful, perfect, if I could get it open. Let me back out. Half square triangle that is 2 inches. It's perfect. This is why you have to have these. And this is the way I made, because I tried to make them the other way. First of all, I cut my fabric wrong, so they were way too small. That was my fault. So if you ever come across these techniques where they say, number one, sew 1/4 of an inch away from the line, that's not very accurate. It'll work, but it's not the most accurate way. Yeah. Debbie says she loves those tools. Best trimmers. Yep. Debbie says the coffee's ready over by the Danish and cinnamon rolls. I love that. And y'all, just so you're aware, I cannot use closed captioning during a live stream. It doesn't work. The computer's not that fast. So it's not like I can hit a button and make it do that. But that's wonderful. So yeah. Oh, that's a great Christmas present if you have a quilty friend. Absolutely. So look at that. I have a perfect 2-inch half square triangle. Okay. So remember the math is final size plus 1 times 2. Let me put this up here so you guys can see. 2 inches. Bueno, huh? Yep. That's great. Okay. That's how you do that. I don't know why. Well, maybe they don't want you to have, you know, for those people who don't have those rulers, but still, you can still do it that method and then say trim down to 2 inches. You don't have to have that fancy ruler. It's a little harder, but you don't have to have that fancy ruler. Those fancy rulers really make a world of difference. Okay. So I've redeemed myself on that horrible video quality. That was awful, you guys. I couldn't even, you know, I'll go back the next day or whatever, or that afternoon, and I'll look at the video just to see if there's anything I said that I put below and I missed it or whatever, or if there's anything I could do better. And a little self-critical, you know. And I saw that. I only watched about 7 minutes of it. I couldn't stand it. Candace says, bueno. That's right. Hey, I'm learning Spanish, y'all. Now, I took 3 years of Spanish in high school, and I live in South Texas. So I've been surrounded by this my whole life, and I have done all these different programs on how to learn Spanish. And I watch Cole the Corn Star. I don't know why. I'm not a farmer, but I'm just interested in his content. He's good. And he's learning Spanish because his wife is Hispanic. His in-laws are Hispanic, and they're teaching their children Spanish. So he was the other day, he was on his phone and he was playing with an app to learn Spanish. And he popped it up and said, I'm using, and it's Duolingo. Duolingo on, it's an app. Now you can do it for free. I paid for the year. It's like $80, which I figured is a deal. So it encourages you to keep up a daily streak, and it starts with the basics and moves you along. So I'm doing okay. All right. So I think this morning I can finish my block. Betsy has Duolingo. Yeah, it's a great little app. It's a great little app because it has you right now, you know, we're conjugating verbs and it sounds like a lot. Well, I know that's what we're doing because I took Spanish in high school 100 years ago. But if you didn't know that's what you were doing, you wouldn't know. But they're teaching you, you know, the conversational sounds. It's really neat. So it's not just this is a boy, this is a girl. Then you get into the boy drinks water, the girl eats bread, and you just start very basic stuff like that. It's pretty neat. All right. So thus far on my Starburst block, I'm going to finish that here today. I've got this much. So I've got this top row together. I've got my center row together. I've got to put these three together. These square and a square, those are something. And then I've got the two sides that have to be put on. And then I will be finished with this block. So I think I can do that this morning. Yeah, I think I can. I think I can. All righty. Morning Spanish words. Oh, I love that. Yo amo coser. C-O-S-E-R, coser. I love to sew. Yo amo coser. I like that. Thank you. That's cool. Thank you. And how do you, can you, Jeanette, is it Jeanette? Can you phonetically put out your name? Because I knew I've either said Janet or Jeanette, and I don't think I'm right on either one. Can you put it phonetically and tell me how that sounds? So I would be interested in that. I don't want to get it wrong. Okay. I've got my little mini ironing station over here, you guys. What I use is I've got a little 3-tiered cart that I picked up on Amazon. You can get these at Michael's or wherever. And then I've got my pressing tools. These are from Gray Rooster. I have a link below. These are the best in the industry. I love that they're little bitty. I've got a longer one for my regular ironing station for a whole block. But I love these for my little ironing station. And then I've got my Cricut mini press. Adore this thing. It doesn't catch fire. That's huge, right? We had one recalled this year, remember? And then I've got a Steady Betty on here. So I've got a foam surface. I've got a wool surface on this particular clapper. I've got a clapper without wool and then steam, no steam. And I just roll this thing around. Okay. All right, let's get to this, you guys. I've got to get sewing. I've been yapping. Oh, yesterday on the live, 2 of the blocks in the red square in American Pie, they were just rotated 180 the wrong way. Y'all, my inbox blew up. Your blocks are wrong, which I appreciate. Y'all ought to figure it out. I was just quick throwing things together. Okay, so when you, And you guys, I always talk about how to do this for brand new quilters because we've got brand new quilters in the group. So beg your indulgence, please. So I want to show you guys how I put my blocks together. On this block right here, there is a crisscross of the seams on the back. I've got to mark them here in green. My blue marker went, I think it's in my Yazzie bag from Baton Rouge. All right. So we have a point here on the front, my 1/4 inch seam point right there. So that X is where that point makes from the back. Okay. So what you want to do is you take a pin and you go in from the back right into that point. So it's right, the pin is right there. Okay. And now I'm going to go in from the front right on that point and put them together. This is very unconventional, you guys. This is how I roll. Okay. Now I'm going to level these up. If they're not even on the sides, on the top, that's okay. You do want them vertically on the sides, even as straight together as possible. And then you want to hold that pin horizontal between your thumb and forefinger. And then I'm going to, at an angle, I'm going to pin at an angle. I'm not going to pin straight like this. Okay. At an angle, I'm going to go in one side of the seam allowance and out the other of the vertical seam, not the angled one, but the vertical seam. Okay. So I've anchored those together. And the reason for doing it is at an angle. So as I sew, I'm going to come down here. I'm going to aim for that point where they cross. I'll get one stitch over so I know that they're anchored together with the seam now, with the thread, and then I can pull the pin. Okay. And this particular square is on a bias and it's not wanting to match its little buddy there, but I'm going to make it. I'm just going to tell it, you need to be right there. And then when on these, on the end, I will put them together and take a big bite with this pin, a big bite, not a little tiny bite, but a big bite, big wide, 1/2 inch, 3/8, whatever. And then start these. On the bed of my machine, I have diagonal seam tape from Cluck Cluck Sew. Let me get in so you can see this. Okay. So this diagonal seam tape, it's got 3 lines. It has black, red, black. The red is in direct line with the needle. And then here's a 1/4 inch over here and a 1/4 inch over here. When I sew, I make sure that the bottom end down here stays in alignment with this outer edge of the diagonal seam tape. I don't watch the needle. The needle knows what it's doing. Its job is to go up and down. That's fine. The only time I watch it is when it gets close to the seam. So I hold this because as this goes in a machine, especially on a machine that's not a straight stitch, it's gonna dance all over the place. I don't want that. Okay, so I'm gonna hit that X. I'm gonna go, I'm away from it. I'm gonna have to re-sew that, I can tell. I'm gonna pull the pin and then I'm watching the end. If you've got a 1/4 inch seam marking on your machine, that's great. Yeah, I'm a stitch away from this one, I can tell. Well, I did okay. Where are you guys at? There it is. Not bad. That's pretty good. I think I'll leave that. Let me see. Yeah, I like that. That's fine. Yep. Yeah, the needle knows its job. Brother did a good job making sure those machines know what to do. Not bad. I know. Good morning, Bernadette. All right. Not bad. I'm not going to go back. I don't know. You guys, the more I do this to perfection, it's literally a half stitch. But the black looks so good. I'm going to leave it. I'm leaving it. I can't stand it. Gonna leave it. All right. If you're brand new, you're looking at it going, that looks great. Y'all, I went to the San Antonio Quilt Guild quilt show this weekend. Oh my word. I saw the one that took best of show. She took like 5 ribbons. You know, the awards now all go to quilts that they're not intricately pieced. You know, they might have some, I don't know, they might have some difficult piecing. They're not intricately pieced, but the quilting in the negative space, and that term came about in the modern quilting movement. But the negative space is the space that it doesn't have, there might be a lot of background fabric, okay? And then there is thread. Then there's thread that is the same color as the background fabric. And that's where the artistry comes in, because they create gorgeous designs. And the quilting is so dense, it almost has a trapunto effect, where the fabric it's not stitched on is very puffy. And if I can, tomorrow, I'll make y'all a little slideshow so you can see those. I never noticed that 5 feet away on a galloping horse. Good morning, Frito. Yeah. We had to start her on some probiotics. She just itches and itches. And a lady from the UK emailed me and said, I was watching your video from, I don't know, right after we got her. We got her in March from the shelter. And I was talking about how she scratched all the time. And the lady emailed me and she said, I just watched this video. You need to try this stuff called Immune Biome. It's for horses. And 1,000-pound horse gets a tablespoon of this a day. It's like $70 for this thing, for this stuff. So I ordered it. And she gets half. Well, first we gave her too much and it gave her a bad stomach. So that's why she had an accident in her box the other day. And she felt bad. She was embarrassed. And anyway, I ordered an 1/8 teaspoon from Amazon and it came in and she gets a tiny bit now on the end of that. So she's been on this now about a week and I'm already noticing it works. And the lady told me that they'll give them steroid shots. Yeah. Scotty, you want to see that quilt slideshow? That quilt, it was incredible. I don't have my phone with me or I'd show y'all. Anyway, so this stuff is for horses. But she said that steroid shots shorten the animal's life. I guess her vet told her that. Oh, my brother-in-law is finally texting me back. I texted him yesterday and I said, hey, we're coming to Tempe. That's where he lives. I said, we'll be there on Wednesday. So all night last night, my husband, did my brother answer you? Did my brother answer you? I said, no, he didn't answer me. Okay, you guys, when you're going to sew, like I got to put this piece on this. This is just an easy trick, okay? When you're going to sew and put that on here, don't sew it with this side facing you because you can't see where you need to hit the seam. Sew it with this side facing you so you know where to hit your seam up here. It seems simple, but it took me a bit to kind of consciously be aware of that. We had gotten some pumpkin shoes for her and some other stuff. And y'all, I worry about the Chinese stuff flooding the market, and I don't want to feed just anything to my dog. So having somebody recommend something to me was really important. Well, hi, Cher. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. So, yeah, that turned out real pretty. See, now I hit the point. Isn't that nice? That way you're not sewing blind, y'all. Where'd that other one go? What did I do with it? Here it is. So far, so good. Once we got her dosage under control, poor thing. Oh, now look here. So my seam is folded the wrong way. I can't see where the lines cross. So there's another blind point. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to fold this back. And what I do on this is just before, okay, so in the seam, this is already folded to one side over here. So it's going to go twisty somewhere. And y'all, I could press open, but I don't where they need to nest. So I'm just going to fold that back and it's over to the dark side. And I'm going to make sure that it's flat with an iron before it gets to the center because I don't need all that bulk. This isn't going in a show. It doesn't matter. I'll never enter a quilt in a show. There were a lot of nice quilts there. I really, really enjoyed it. I took pictures of the ones I liked. Not all of them, just the ones I liked. Okay, so I folded that over to one side so I'm not sewing blind. I missed it. I'm a little short. Hold on. There we go. Okay. The ends justify the means. Yeah. It doesn't matter how you get there. And really, once you're using these pressing tools, your seams truly are much flatter than, you know, almost as if you had pressed them open. I only press seams if it's not going to nest with something else. What kind of spray glue do I use on my quilt? Spray glue? I don't know what you mean. Spray glue. How much of the probiotic do I give my dog? She gets a 1/16 of a teaspoon of that stuff. If a tablespoon is for a 1,000-pound horse, she only weighs 35 pounds. So she gets like a 1/16 of a teaspoon. But, oh, Shirley, yeah. You know, quilting has changed so much. Joanne wants to know if I ever sleep. Oh, I slept so good last night. I watched a video right before or after I got done with the Sunday live. Lisa texted me and she said, "Did you take a breath during that live?" I was like, "What?" Ooh, that was a doozy, y'all. Okay, so I've got to get these two strips together here, and I have about 48 points I have to match. So I'm going to do this. And I start in the middle, work my way out. So what I do is I'll look and I go, okay, that's not right on the point, and I want it right on the point. Okay. Yeah, I see some of these quilts and I'm like, whoa, there is no way. I get so intimidated by them. There's no way I'd enter. And I know it's just about being accepted to be in the quilt show. Not everybody's going to win. I get it. But you all know what I mean. Okay. So on nested seams, I can do this. Nest those, butt them up together. I like my world right here a little bit better. Oh, thank you, Candace. Yes, thumbs up. You guys are nice. Appreciate that. Y'all, my engagements because of my cheerleaders like you with YouTube has gone way up. They're like, why is everybody watching that lady so? That's awesome. My engagement reach is high because of the thumbs up and the shares and the comments and the chats and all of that. So that's nice. I appreciate that very much. My work is not that perfect, Scotty Dog. I try. I'm aiming to just not tip my points. That's my goal. Okay. Y'all don't put your pins in your mouth, okay? If you do, you're not supposed to swallow them. Y'all, I get emails on that. Don't do that. My mother was a nurse, and she told me that somebody came in, had a pin in the x-ray. Y'all, don't swallow them. You're not supposed to swallow. My mother lived with pins in her mouth. I just remember her. We lived in South Texas, right where I am here, and we didn't have air conditioning. And my mom would have me stand on a stool to hem my dress, beads of sweat on her upper lip, and 4 pins hanging out of her mouth, telling me to stand still and quit fidgeting while she hemmed my dress. Yeah. Candace, mine would be in the category, what is she thinking? That's hilarious. Love it. Nice try. E for effort. That's funny. Yep. Yep. We all had moms like that, didn't we? Stand still, quit fidgeting. You know, it was hot and sweaty, and so I felt like I had ants crawling on my legs. I hated that. Was the worst part, getting that dress hemmed. She sewed all my clothes. Memories, good memories. Yeah, absolutely, Debbie. I mean, there would be, you're your own worst critic. We all see our own mistakes. And, you know, I quilt for the love of sewing. This whole putting pins in and just, what are you doing? Well, here's Frito. Good morning, baby girl. Hi. Good morning, sweetheart. Yes, you're a good girl. Hello. She's got to get her ear scratched first thing. Your mama's girl. Yes. Sorry about that, you guys. I got to love on my Frito. I don't need her thinking I don't love her. I know Frito, because it ends in O, is the male, you know, masculine. But she comes from deep South Texas. And when she landed at the no-kill shelter in my county, they had called her Sally Mae. Well, she didn't answer to that at all. And so she's got a black mask. And so we were calling her Frito the Bandito. But Frito sounds like perro, which is dog. So I think, because as soon as we started calling her Frito, she just responded, and she comes when she's called. And so I think they probably just called her dog, I imagine. And y'all, she's a purebred Australian cattle dog. So I don't know why she ended up in the shelter. She came from Freeder, Texas, which is halfway between Corpus Christi and Laredo, on a ranch somewhere. She's not ranch trained, though. My last cattle dog was trained to chase cows. She did a good job of it. This one would just look at you, not do anything. Ooh, that hurt. You did one of those row by row quilts, Margie? I don't have the, I started one to get it done, and I was like, no. But yeah, you're right. They make you sew so quickly to get that quilt done first. I hope it was worth it. I hope what you won was worth it. Okay, let's see how we did on this big old long strip. That one's good. That one's good. Perfect join. I'll take it. That's good. That's good. And that's good. All right, you guys, we're batting 1,000 on that one. How about that? Yeah. You want a fat quarter bundle and a quilt pattern? Seriously? I give that away on Sundays. Oh, ta-da! Candace says, that's right. So I need to iron this one. Now, this isn't going to be nested to anything else, so I will press that seam open, all right? Frito's on my mat in front of my pressing station. Yes, baby. No, I'm not going to rub your belly. You need to move. Oh, my goodness. Look out, Frito. Sorry, baby girl. Okay. So I've got this long presser bar now, and this is what I use on my blocks. So I just kind of pull it open and start with my finger press first. This is a hemness dresser from IKEA, and then my husband made another top for it that sticks out. It's large enough to open up a fat quarter on here, so that's why it hangs out over. I'll show you guys how it's built here in just a second. Let me finish doing this. Annoying. The threads, oh, they're so bad. Y'all, when you're in this process and you see a thread that is darker, that's going to be underneath a lighter square, do you or your long armor a favor and get rid of it right while you're doing it now. Like these black threads, if they were hanging out onto these lighter fabrics, I don't want to have to deal with that later on. Okay, there we go. Okay, so I've got that all open. Oh, now I've got a clapper. Okay, and I just take the iron and I follow the clapper backwards like this. Okay. Oh, isn't that pretty? And then another thing I do, you guys, Quilter's cut and press. It's got these measuring marks on it. So this is going to be the final block size. All right. So this block is supposed to be, I think it's 12.5. So I'm going to put it on the 0. It is at 12.5. And I use this to press and make sure it's not wonky as I press it. And that just keeps the block nice and straight. The iron is telling it where I want it to go. Okay. Yeah, this looks good. So here's it's 12.5. Y'all, this turned out just beautiful. Look at that. Isn't that nice? Okay. So that's one of the things I love the cut and press for. Let me have this back. Okay. So I'll show you guys. This actually lifts up off. So this is the old ironing surface. And my husband just he created this top. And it's got a bar up in here on the side to snug it up. And it just sits on there. So it does move around. But that's so you can take it off if I needed to get it through a door. If I was going to move it. And then for you embroiderers out there, he mounted a bracket to the side of it. And that holds my hoops. So it's got pegs on it. And it has a tiny little shelf underneath. This is my big hoop sticking out here. It's got a tiny little shelf underneath that holds my scanning mat for my luminaire. So that's how that's all set up. And there's another bracket on the other side. So we just modified a hemness dresser from IKEA for my ironing station. Yep. Well, the thing with ironing without those lines is sometimes the fabric will torque one way or the other. And this, you know, and you can even use some sort of moisture, not starch yet, some sort like water. I would just use water. And just if you've got some serious waves going on, just use water or maybe it's a little too big, then spray it out. This one right here, that's what I did. So this center row was it was almost 13. So I sprayed it heavy with water and I blocked it on the cut and press by pinning the four corners on the 12.5 and made sure it was straight. And then I just patted it. And I let it dry for about 3 or 4 hours. Okay. And it's perfect. Okay. So I blocked that middle, this row right here. I blocked it. So it's your pressing mat that's out of whack. Well, dude, you need a new pressing mat. That's the only use I have for those cut and press, except I do like to have those as a flat surface for lap work when I am doing embroidery. What type of batting is in my pressing station? So, Kaylee, that pressing station has, oh gosh, all right. There is a layer of regular 100% cotton batting. There is a layer of vinyl as a moisture barrier for the wood. The wood is, I think it's plywood. I'm not sure. Might be oak. I can't remember. And then on top of that is a layer of the, what's that stuff that's got the metal in it? Not Wrap and Zap. That's 100% cotton. That other stuff that you would use, you know, in pot holders or whatever they tell you to make. It's got that thin sheet. I can't remember. It's Pellon product, I think. What's that called? So I put that on there and it's got the fabric. You can either use quilting cotton, but that's a canvas from She Who Sews. That one. Insel Bright. Thank you. Appreciate it, ladies. Yeah, it's Insel Bright. So it's got a heat barrier underneath the fabric, underneath the canvas. It's got a heat barrier, a moisture barrier, and then the cotton. And Keith put himself through college doing upholstery for people. So he went to the Votech and the local college up in Arkansas when he was in the Air Force, and took a upholstery class. And then he was doing seat covers and mostly boats, that kind of thing, you know. And he's a whiz with the little pneumatic gun. He's a whiz with that. So he put that on there for me. Yeah, Insel Bright. That's what it is. Thank you, everybody. Now that one actually has 2 layers of fabric on it because this piece of canvas is covering the first piece of canvas that I destroyed. It took me about a year to destroy it, but I did. You want to borrow my husband? Yeah, he's pretty handy. It's so funny, you know. that's one of those things. I just needed to make sure that whoever I married could manage a hammer for sure. I like that. Yeah. And then Dee Dee Slack was here Friday, and she asked me 14 times, and I missed it all 14 times until after I went back and looked. She wanted to know what's on my my design wall. So yes, Galen, we are still live. So my design wall, Keith put this up here for me. That is made out of 2 4x8 end-to-end of the purple foam insulation board. You can get it. We got it at Home Depot. So it's that purple foam insulation board. Okay. He mounted that on the wall. Yeah, the design, all the blocks are Lori Holt. Yeah, Scrappy. Yeah, these are all Lori Holt. But what the design board is made out of, okay, and then there are 2 layers of that quilt batting. This is the most expensive design board known to man because there's 2 layers of the quilt batting from Loft Supply, 100% white cotton batting. And I put 1 layer up and I could see through it and I hated it. So I had to put another layer. So I had the 90-inch roll and just cut it. And so underneath, this is just oak trim. The wood right here is oak trim. Okay. So underneath the oak trim, it's all jaggedy where he cut it off with some heavy scissors. And then it's mitered in the corners. And that's my design wall. So that's 2 layers of 100% white cotton batting. And I love this batting, you guys. I'm not kidding. When I was talking about that batting from loftsupply.com, they gave away, yes, I know he does need to do tutorials. Y'all, the reason he doesn't is because his shop is a disaster zone. Don't want anybody seeing it. But I love that batting. And I bought some Minky quilt kits at the show on Sunday, and it's got Hobbs 80/20 in it. And I felt the batting that came in the kit, and I was like, I absolutely love the 100% cotton. It comes from Fort Worth. There's a big cotton gin up there in Fort Worth that makes all of that. So, and there's a big manufacturing company that makes all the batting, and Loft Supply is the wholesaler for them. And they supply it to quilt stores all around Texas. He wants to be the quilt batting supplier for quilt stores. And yes, Cheryl, I don't know what it is, a man thing. If you ever watch Cass from Clutterbug, most men are butterflies, whereas it's got to be right where they can see it in large categories. And so they just have a tendency to just dump stuff and just that's where it sits and they walk away and they're fine with it. So, all right, you guys. So we have been on for an hour and this has been a lot of fun. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to finish putting that row on this block, I think, or I might jump in and finish up or try to finish up my American Pie blocks while I can here. So kids are butterflies too. Yes, Margie, my husband, he's a 63-year-old kid. He is. Margie's a bee like me. Well, you guys see me as I'm doing stuff here and I'm using my rulers and whatnot. You'll see me as soon as I get finished with it, I put them away. I get done with something, I put it away. Everything has to go back exactly where I know where it's at. I've got to be organized. I do like to see it, but I have to. Who did the butterfly or bee thing? Julie Ann, that is Cass from Clutterbug. She's got 4 bugs. You've got butterflies, large categories, visual organizer, large categories. That's kids and men, okay? And then you have visual organizers, detailed categories, That's the bee and quilt stores. So your quilt stores are organized like a bee. You can see everything, and they're in categories. You've got juvenile, you've got Christmas, you've got boutiques, right? And then you have ladybugs, which are not visual organizers. They know where everything is, but it's closed up and closed away. So it might be in a cabinet or in a drawer or something like that. And then you have the crickets, and the crickets are, ladybugs will have loads of stuff in a cabinet or a closet, and the door's closed, but you open it up and it's a hot mess inside. And then you have crickets, and my mother's a cricket. So that is a non-visual organizer. Everything's closed away. It's very minimal on the outside. But when you open up a drawer, there's teeny tiny little organizational trays, and everything has a place, everything in its place. So yeah, she's on YouTube. She had a show on HGTV called Hot Mess House. Yeah, she's awesome. And a lot of quilters are bees. Karen's a bee, Belinda's a bee, I'm a bee. Yeah, most quilters are bees. We like to see stuff, but she's wonderful. Between her, I watch her, Cass from Clutterbug, and that helped me. Kim wants to be a cricket. Y'all, being a cricket is so that's too much energy for me to expend, but I get it. I totally get it. You're a cricket when you've got all your embroidery threads and you buy those little trays for each spool, and it's numbered and it fits in a drawer. That is totally a cricket, because I can't do that. I'd be like, my spools are everywhere, but they're all contained in a clear box or they're all on the wall somewhere and they're in an order that works. It's kind of nice. Pam's a bee. Yeah, we've got a lot of bees in here. So, yeah. So I watch Minimal Mom, and she's all about, not having a lot of inventory. Well, that doesn't work for quilters for the most part, but she does give you permission to let things go. And that's really a nice feeling. And Maureen lives near Fort Worth, and she says you can pick it up. Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, if you want to get that. And then, oh, Jenny, you're welcome. And then I also watched Dana K. White, and she is all about decluttering and making sure, where would I look for it first type thing, so that you don't just leave stuff laying around. I do that all the time. That goes through my head. I've got something like yesterday when I finished the live, that sewing table was piled high with all the stuff that I had talked about. And then I was like, okay, where would I look for it first? Where does it go? Yeah. So I can't work in a mess either, Scotty Dog. I can't. It nags at me. If it's out of place, out of order, it nags at me. And a mess makes you nervous. Yes. Messes give me anxiety too. Yeah, they give me anxiety. So like, even though this is a hot mess, these are things waiting to go on the long arm, backing, bindings, quilt tops that are finished and whatnot. They're all right here. Keith made this quilt rack for me, and everything's right here. Okay. So it might be a hot mess on there, but I know where it all is, and it has a place. Oh, it's 8 o'clock. The dogs are hungry. I can hear Harley barking. So, well, guys, this has been fun. My husband's going to start cooking breakfast. He's feeding the dogs. So it is time to go. Thank you so much for joining me. I will be here tomorrow and Wednesday. The Stitchuation room is closed on Thursday and Friday because I will be in Tempe, Arizona. But then again, on Monday, we'll be back. So I am here Monday through Wednesday this week. All right. It has been a pleasure. Thank you again for joining me. Please give the video a thumbs up. I appreciate all of you. You guys go sew something. Okay. Bye.